Is
So
Dwayne
with
a
that,
contender for that job?
not right now, but he will be at some point in time. You know, we're going to continue to develop him and heighten his maturation process and try to get him on schedule so that he is prepared. So there's always a possibility, you know, a possibility he could be active or deactive. So we'll see as we move along.
What are you looking for in Dwayne to know that it's eventually time to let him go ahead and learn on the job?
I think it's time now for him to be prepared because anything can happen. And I think as a quarterback, you're always ready to step in and step up. It occurred in the Giant game, and it can occur again, you know, based on the decisions we make as a staff. So, you know, his progress is incremental. It's starting to show signs and flashes, you know, of progress, but he still has a ways to go. And I'm looking forward to coaching with him. And I think he's a great kid. He's got a bright future, and he's our franchise pick. So at some point, you know, he'll be in the lineup at some point in time, whether it's this year or next year,
Right.
whatever.
Understanding that, though, what is there like a box, or what can you tell us about the actual characteristics, the actual thresholds he needs to meet for him to go ahead and be the starter? Because I also understanding there's a very limited number of reps in practice and things like that to accelerate his growth, and also for you guys to evaluate and understand what you have in him going into next year.
Yeah, good question. I think with his development also, you know, we've got to be conscientious of getting him some repetitions during the course of the practice. So that'll be a little bit of a shift in philosophy as we move forward. So he will be able to take repetitions at some point, you know, whether it's at the beginning, the end, the middle. But we're really cognizant of trying to rep him up during the course of the practice so that he is prepared and that he does obviously get exposure to, you know, game-type repetitions, you know, that can dovetail into potentially a starting position here in the future or next year, whatever it may be.
Did when they talked to you about becoming the interim coach, how much did they talk to you about his development?
Well, it doesn't take much to figure out that he's the first-round pick and that we've, you know, put in resources into that position. I take it upon myself to be cognizant of where he needs to go and where he needs to be. But no, his development is very, very important, and there's a good plan in place futuristically for that to happen.
What can you do as an interim coach? What can you do to change this situation, turn it around?
Well, it's really there's no magic formula, and you know, as we go forward, you know, I'm going to rely on the staff and the team, the captainship, the leadership of our team, to change the course. There's really nothing, you know, there's no magic formula, you know, to all of a sudden go into a winning team. But I do think the formula of working hard and preparing better, I think those things are under control of the staff and the players. And I truly believe they're committed to doing that. We've gotten a great effort from our players, and we need more consistent effort. We need to be a more consistent team in the second half. I think that has shown itself across the board, you know, in all phases.
Bruce was in here earlier. He said he anticipated you making some changes to the schedule, the practices, things like that. Understanding your respect for Jay, what are some of the things you've observed or feel like you want to change coming in?
We'll tweak some things and make adjustments to others. I have a plan for that. Not ready to announce it. I prefer to wait till Wednesday morning to visit with the team about what we're going to do in practice and how we're going to go about our practice regimen. And really, I want to be a little more patient because I've only been in this situation for less than 8 hours, I think now. So I'm going to take my time with that. But there will be some practice adjustments based on who we're playing. I think there's always that element of what you need to get prepared for, whether it be a 4-3 defense, a 3-4 defense, whatever those issues and problems present themselves defensively for the offense, and then conversely, you know, for the defense, you know, what they're facing on offense. So, you know, practice will get adjusted according to what we're going to face, if that makes sense. Okay.
Bill, how are you approaching this personally? Is this an audition for you? Do you see this? Is this the job that you want next year? Would you like to have this head position next year?
I've been auditioning for over 20 years in the National Football League. No, I don't think I'm not auditioning, but nothing but trying to get our team better. and really be focused on Miami. This is it's a good opportunity to help improve our team and to lead our team forward. I'm not worried about me. It's not about me. It's about our team, and it's about what we can do to get us out of this rut that we're currently in. This is a historical franchise. It's a prestigious franchise, and to be where we're situated right now doesn't sit well with any of us, the staff and players, and people in every area of the building. This is, like I said, uncharted waters for me. I've never been in this situation as a coach, assistant or head, so there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done, and like I said, there's no magic formula, to make this thing turn. So we'll work on it day by day and week by week, and we'll just focus on what we need to do, and that's getting prepared for Miami.
And just a quick follow-up, Kevin, to take over offensive play calling and keeping Greg?
Yes, good point. Kevin will take over the play calling. I've got a lot of faith and confidence in Kevin. He's a bright young coach, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. He will do a great job. He's well prepared, and in a lot of ways, he's was kind of like Jay's conduit. He kind of had a lot of, not kind of, but did have a lot of influence in the play calling. So it's just a matter of putting that belt on him and letting him pull the trigger, and obviously coordinate the communication, to the quarterback on game day.
Bill, right here. Bruce was in here earlier saying that the culture in this building is damn good, and you described it a little bit yourself. So how does the culture in this building that you're describing translate into wins right now? Because that seems where the mindset is for you and for this organization.
I think we have a young core nucleus of players that have contributed to our team, and it's unfortunate they haven't experienced success like our veterans have. The culture is in the environment is on a day-to-day basis is setting the tone through our leadership. Our culture is one of working harder, being more prepared, being more focused, improving on a daily basis, improving fundamental techniques, improving when you go into a meeting, when you go on the field, when you're in a competitive environment or a competitive drill. Those improvements need to take place, and we need to have more of that. So the culture of defining exactly what we want to be and where we want to go, again, it's going to have to happen this week, and it's going to be piecemeal through the week as we go through the Miami preparation. But that culture is always changing, and I think for our players, they'll see some slight changes to schedules, to the way we practice, to the focus of what we'll demand in the meeting rooms. So there'll be a little bit of a shift in that respect.
Bill, we've had conversations. You're a very detail-oriented individual, and you said right now the way things are, they don't sit well with you, the 0-5 start.
I'm sorry, one more time?
I said you and I talked very detail-oriented, and you said that the way that things are right now, this 0-5 start does not sit well with you. What are the changes that you hope to make over the next 11 games? What are the things that you saw over the first 5 games that you think to yourself, that's something that we need to change in order to have a different outcome these next 11 games of the season?
Well, I think first off, the identity of who you are and what you want to be has to take place. I envision ourselves as a running team. I like to get our run game going. I think that's important because everything else is complementary off it. The run action, passes and protections off of it, complement your running game. If we can move from 2 down, we can play 2-down football and go from first down to second down to first down. That would be huge. And in order to do that, the consistency of the running game is going to have to take place. So that run identity not only helps us be the physical team that we want to be, but it lends itself benefits in every other area. The defense, clock time, letting them sit on the pine a little bit. So we're really conscious of making that shift. We have a good stable of running backs that we got confidence in. And that'll be the focus going forward for us. That's one of the areas in that respect.
Bill, what do you need, to your right here?
Thank you.
What do you need to see from Dwayne to get him into that conversation for the starting quarterback job? And how do you get that? You're going to give him more reps in practice going forward? I mean, he's got to play or practice to make it happen, right?
Right. I think the continuation of preparation, of focus, and having success on the field and having confidence on the field and getting his confidence level up and having his confidence, he could put him at a comfort level within the system so that he has a package of plays that he can obviously go out and execute and have and know that those are his and he has ownership on those plays. I think that's the focus right now, is trying to get him up and get him rolling, and get him prepared, just like we do Case and Colt, and no different.
Bill, over here. When did you find out today, I guess it was today, about this opportunity? And then, how long did it take you to think about it? How was it presented to you?
Yeah, I was called last night, and I visited with Bruce and Dan and talked about this role. They asked me to get ready to be put in this role and asked me if I wanted to do this. And there was a lot of careful thought and considerations because I've been in this role before, and I know what it takes. I think I have a good vision of what winning football looks like. But I wanted to take my time and make sure it was the right decision, that not only for our team, but personally, on a personal level as well. I feel very assured, very confident that we can make the shift. There was going to be a decision made one way or the other, and that seat was emptied. And there's a lot of qualified coaches in the room that could have stepped in, and taken this role. And I'm honored to be asked and honored to do it, but I thought very carefully about it and gave it a lot of consideration. And came to fruition this morning when I came in, and I willingly took the spot, and now I'm here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But so today's been a little bit of a whirlwind in that respect.
Let's talk defense for a minute, if you don't mind, now that you're the head coach.
Yep.
Do you plan on making any changes to the defensive staff?
Not this time.
And what would you like to see out of that unit? Obviously, a lot of talent there, not a lot
Mm-hmm.
of production so far. What do you want to see from that group to reach their potential?
I think for our entire team, the second half production, efficiency, closing out a game, taking a lead and closing a game out. That's what we all want. That's what we want to see. And that's the challenge that lies before us. We've played a good first half of football in the first 5 games that we've entered, but we've faltered in the second half. There's a definitive flaw that we've got to correct, and we've got to correct it. And we've addressed that with the team today. Talked about going forward what we need to do, and I'll keep that private if you don't mind. It's between myself and the team. And really the gist of it is just really the focus on our second half performance. It hasn't been up to par, not even close. So
Bill,
we're working to get that fixed.
Bill, question about the running game. You mentioned it as a priority. Does there need to be more volume, a change in philosophy of how to get that done? And also maybe a follow-up to that. Have you spoken with Trent Williams at all, and how has his absence affected what you guys want to do there? And
yeah, the volume of the running game, I don't know, that needs to increase. I think that as you look back in the last few weeks, I think we're at the bottom of the league in rush attempts. And the willingness to make the commitment and to run it more, I think benefits everybody, like I mentioned. Relative to Trent, his situation, he hasn't been here, so there's really nothing to talk about in that regard. Basically, we'll see how it plays out. But going forward, we're just playing and working with the players that we have here in the room.
Last one up front. Bill, just following up on that, obviously the production in the run game has not been there this year, and there's probably no one who could diagnose what has gone wrong better than you can, but what gives you the confidence that going to a style of play that has not worked for you through 5 games is the path to be successful moving forward?
Yeah. Well, there's been flashes. We've had flashes of positive runs and gains. There's been a few negatives. We haven't taken a lot of negative hits this year like we did a year ago. So that in itself, it shows me that if we commit a little bit more, there's a chance, to get it up and rolling. Featuring AP in his skill set, and of course Chris Thompson. I think those are those are all viable points. You know, just I think a running back needs to get into a rhythm, and we've got to find a run rhythm. Now, I can't promise that'll happen or guarantee that'll happen, but that's the goal. You know, to find a run rhythm where we can get these backs rolling and going. You know, and again, we all know we're going to have to throw the football at some point. I mean, this is the National Football League, and you're going to have to throw the ball to win. Whether it's in the 2-minute drills or third down, you know, you're going to get in those situations where you've got to throw it. But I do think running the ball sets an attitude, sets a physical style. It sends a message, you know, and it puts a confidence in your line and your backs, you know, and it takes a little bit more pressure off the quarterback as well. I think we can all agree that, you know, when you're running it, you know, 25 or 30 times a game, you know, you're not throwing it 45 or 50 times. So there's more of a balance in that respect. So whether it's rushing yards or whether it's rushing attempts, I think that's critical.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you.